Number two, this one's pretty straightforward, only 2 steps. Kill all of the elders.
All right, guys, this is the bookends.
We're reading The Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas.
Spoilers.
Spoilers! Now what, details?
I guess so.
Drink!
So my DTL is how to gain political power. In case you're interested in this, the books gave us lots of different helpful tips and tricks. So we put together this resource for you if you also want to gain political power. So thinking kings or queens, lords and ladies, any of these types of positions. So first off, if you are born to a royal bloodline, there's a traditional path for you. First step, you have to be born into a royal family. So hopefully that's you in this scenario. Number two, this one's pretty straightforward, only 2 steps. Kill all of the elders. So if your dad, for example, is king, you will have to kill him. If you're not the oldest sibling, you will have to kill all siblings until you are the oldest. So again, pretty straightforward. Just if you're lucky enough to be the firstborn, then you don't have to do a whole lot. You only have to kill 1 or 2 people, so that's good. Pro tip, find a significant other that is equally or more powerful than you and merge kingdoms. So both Manon and Dorian kind of follow this pathway, and then they find each other to sort of merge kingdoms. So they're a great example in these books of this traditional path. Royal bloodline, traditional path, hard mode. So say that was like not challenging enough for you, especially if you are the oldest child. So maybe you want to do a little bit more. Again, you have to be born into a royal family. Preferably this one, it's a little bit easier if you have a magical bloodline. Number two, step 2 is to hide. To avoid being an easy target as a child, go into hiding. You preferably want to find someone who's a little sketchy and who can teach you useful skills, such as killing people. Pro tip, this really helps with number 3. If you keep whispers of your name alive, it'll make number 3 easier. So just keep the conspiracy theories going that your true identity is still out there somewhere. Number 3, surprise! Announce yourself as king or queen. If accepted, you can end here. This is a nice ending. But if not, you do have to go on to step 4. This is what probably makes this the hardest path. You will have to sacrifice yourself until accepted. Find a way to sacrifice yourself for the kingdom to prove your loyalty. You'll have to do this multiple times sometimes. It's an iterative process. And then just come back in the nick of time to save your people. So you want to sacrifice yourself, but not too much that you actually die. And pro tip here is to hire a small child to politic for you while you're out sacrificing yourself. That will really help.
No one expects a small child.
I don't think I heard about this child.
Well, we talked about Evangeline.
So Aylin follows this track. Obviously, she went hard mode. So she's a good example of this one. So here's kind of a non-traditional setup, depending on what type of kingdom you come from. So say if you're still in a royal bloodline, but rather than the oldest or most powerful necessarily getting the seat, you might have to be the king's or queen's favorite. So some kingdoms still do this today, not many, but just keep this in mind depending on where you are. Again, you have to be born into a royal bloodline. This time, the order does not matter. Doesn't matter if you're the oldest, the youngest, somewhere in between. Number 2, find a niche skill and prove your worth. So you are trying to get the king or queen's favor. So you want to find a skill that will be useful to their kingdom. And pro tip, it will be tempting to follow the traditional path and just kill your siblings so that you are automatically the king's favorite. We do not recommend this in this type of scenario, as it may backfire. So try to avoid that if you can. And then number 3, pretty straightforward, win the favorite and you become the next ruler. So This is like Sartec. Uh, let's see. Yeah, Sartaq. And we haven't had a picture of him yet, so there's a nice picture of him to give you an example. Now, what do you do if you're not born to a royal bloodline? Do not worry, there's still a traditional path for you. Don't fret, you can still rise to power by finding a special someone already in a royal bloodline. So work on skills throughout your life that will attract said special someone, so that you can also gain power with them. So continue honing your skills, but also fine tune your physical appearance. Katie's presentation might help with this to make sure that you cover yourself in attractive tattoos for you know, your special someone to find you attractive. You may have to wait a while for this one. You'll have to just kind of chill for a while until you find that person who is willing to mate with you, and so just you know, chill out. Number 4 is when the trap sets in. Once you've found that eligible special someone, track them with love and compliments. Pro tip here, this does work best if you are immortal, just because the timeline could, you know, be so long.
Is it trapping if it's love?
So we have a lot of people. We have a lot of people that follow this pathway. Of course, we have Rowan, classic. He followed the tattoo rule. He was one of the first to follow our plan here, so he's always like kind of our cover man who shows the great success stories of this plan. Nesrin does this. She is not an immortal, so it can be done. You don't have to wait 500 years necessarily, but it's just a little harder if you're not immortal. This is supposed to be Lorcan, and he does this. He eventually finds a lady that he can settle down with. Oh, you don't have to necessarily mate with the person. You could just befriend them. So Lysandra does this with Aelin through friendship. So that's also an option for you if you don't feel comfortable mating with someone who is king or queen. And then we have Avion, who then mates with Lysandra. So they're both kind of tied in with this plan and both a success story. And so actually only 2 people are immortal in this one, but again, it just makes it easier. You don't feel like as pressed for time. Completely untraditional path. If you're bored with your existence and immortal, this path could work for you. First, learn word marks. Learn the ancient magic of word marks. Study up on that. It's going to be important. And you use those to open portals to other worlds. Leave your current world. Find another world that you prefer. It's best if this world is less powerful, so that you can actually take over it. And then you escape to this world forever. And you're going to want to kind of hide while you're there too. Take over the new world. Step 3. So you're going to want to rise to power in this new world with your magic. It is easiest pro tip if you have mind bending capabilities, so you can actually convince people that you are always from this world and it's not as weird that you're here. Step 4, stay hidden. Just hide forever. You can roll forever if you want. Have fun. There's a lot of possibilities for you here. Pro tip though, create an army of loyal spiders for best results. So we know this is like Maeve. She followed these steps in our guide. Now, if you are stuck, so what happens if you're following the guidelines, you don't seem to be making progress, maybe you're not immortal, so you don't have all the time in the world, like what are you supposed to do? Don't worry, we do have a fail-safe cheat code, okay? But be warned, only do this if you are desperate. Seriously, have you tried all other options? You can't sleep with Kale. Okay, somehow we don't quite understand this one. But for some reason it works. So we do put it in our guide, but again, only if you're desperate.
Oh my god. I was wondering where
That's
you
all I
were
have.
going with that one.
That was pretty awesome.
amazing.
Beautiful. That was great.
Like, comment, subscribe, share.
Okay.
Bye.